Hello, guys. Welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest transfer news. The first live video of the transfer window. We'll be doing this every single day, maybe a couple of Saturdays off, but most of the days, 90% of the days, we will be here talking about the latest transfer news. And in this one, we'll be going through the latest on Moises Caicedo, the latest on Thomas Partey. I really want to hear your opinions on Thomas Partey. I've already done a video about that, but I'm on a live stream to hear your opinions on him. Potentially leaving Arsenal. That would be absolutely crazy. Also, the latest on Kai Havertz. We actually seriously linked to Kai Havertz. It's not a joke. And checking all your comments as always. Let me know how you're doing. Transfer window day. Gabriel says I would have Havertz at Arsenal. Interesting. True, good and nice seeing you, brother. Hope you're doing well. I'll catch up with some of your content. Vincent says live from Uganda. I appreciate it. Mo says from Zanzibar, biggest country in the world. I appreciate it. That's essay, right? Thank you for watching. Good afternoon, Ibrahim. Nice seeing all you guys, Alex, Temitaya as well. Nice seeing you, all of you. So let's get started. Let's not waste any more time at all. The transfer window is open today. I've already seen people overreacting and stuff. Let's calm down. The transfer window open today, but let's get to it. Let's start with who. Let's start with Partey, because that is the most interesting news. Like Thomas Partey potentially leaving Arsenal. That would be freaking crazy. So let's start with the piece of news from Gary Jacobs that was broken earlier on today. Thomas Partey, Italian clubs have shown interest in Thomas Partey, who has 2 years remaining on his contract, and Arsenal could be keen to offload him if they get a deal for Moises Caicedo. There has been disappointment at Arsenal that Partey dominated matches for 2/3 of the past season, then regressed to his performance levels of the previous two campaigns. That is according to Guy Jacobs and Time Sport. And also this, there has been disappointment at Arsenal that Thomas Partey dominated matches for 2/3 of the past season, then regressed to his performance levels of the previous two campaigns. Now, as I said in the previous video, I agree with that. Thomas Partey drifted off at the end of the season, and he's one of the players that is potentially the one who disappointed me the most at the end of the season, because I was really expecting a lot from him, and he kind of let us down. He was not the only one, though. Ramsdale made a couple of mistakes. Even our best player, Odegaard, made a couple of mistakes. Saka had a couple of poor performances between April and May. So it wasn't really Partey by himself. I do understand, but that the likes of Saka are young, and maybe we're not really expecting them to shine for the entire season. And we're expecting a bit of help from the experienced players like Partey and Jesus and Zinchenko. And unfortunately, Zinchenko kind of drifted off at the end, and he also got injured, and Partey also drifted off at the end. So maybe that is why Atsa is disappointed in him. But selling him would be crazy. As I said in the previous video again, we are trying to add to our team. We are not trying to replace the first team players. We have 15 or 16 very, very good players. I do not want us to get a new goalkeeper and drop Ramsdale to the bench. I do not want us to replace Saka. I do not want us to replace Odegaard. Even if Jacques was not leaving, I wouldn't have wanted us to replace him. Maybe him on the bench and then someone else is fine. But that is really the only position, and maybe Ben White at right back, because he's not really a right back. But all the other positions, some of you want a striker, but me, I still want Jesus to start next season once again. So I want people to back them up, quality backup. We did not fail to win the title last season because we did not have a good starting lineup. We did not get top of the table because our players were poor. No. Partey was great, Odegaard was great, Martinelli was great. That is why I got to the top. But when it came to the business end, some of the players like Ben White got tired, and we did not really have anyone else to come in. Saliba got injured. We did not really have anyone quality to come in. We had to play holding. When Odegaard had a few poor performances, we had no one to bring in for him. That is our problem. People to come and help them, not to replace them. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, yes, we were looking for someone to replace Bellerin. We were looking for someone to replace Luiz. We were looking for someone to replace Leno. Yes. Back in the day, we were looking for players to replace, players who are going to come and start. Right now, we're only looking for like two starters, two players to come and start for Arsenal. The others are backup. Someone who's going to come and help Saliba when he's out or resting or something like that, or a fullback who's going to come and help in a few games here and there, someone to come and back up Saka, players like that. But you're not looking for people to replace Partey. Another thing is that Thomas Partey himself, he has 2 years remaining on his contract. So it's not like his contract is ending anytime soon. There's that as well. 2 years remaining on his contract. We could keep him here for another 2 years if we wanted. And also, he's only 30 years of age. He's nowhere near. He's just past his prime just a bit. But I mean, players like Gundogan are also above 30. Aubameyang was here until like he was 32 or 33. So I can't see the need of selling him right now. And how much are we going to get for him anyway? We're not going to get 40 or 45 million for him. Our team is going to come with a 20 million offer. We cannot sell someone like a Thomas Partey for 20 million. That would be disastrous. If, let's say, we were keeping everyone that we had last season in midfield, let's say we are not going to sell anyone. We are going to keep Partey, Xhaka, Jorginho, Odegaard, Fabio Villa, Smith Rowe, all of them. Xhaka, we are going to keep all of them. I would still have wanted 2 midfielders into our team. I still would have wanted 2 midfielders. So you get rid of Xhaka and you also get rid of Partey, 2 of your best midfielders from last season. Okay, forget Odegaard, but these are the 2 best defensive and central midfielders that we had. You get rid of them. You're basically in the same situation. Yes, Rice could be better than Xhaka and Caicedo could be better than Partey, however you want to look at it. But that is basically doing the same thing. If you take out Partey and bring in Caicedo, then you'll still need a backup for Caicedo. Or if you sell Xhaka and Partey, both of them, and then you bring Rice and Caicedo, then what happens if Rice gets sent off? You don't have anyone on the bench. That is why you'll need someone like a Partey on the bench or someone like a Caicedo on the bench. So I would be very surprised if we got rid of Partey. Very, very, very surprised. Yes, sometimes, and even last season, people talk about injuries, but last season he only got injured once. That was when I think he missed the Man United game at the beginning of the campaign, the 6th and 7th game of the season. But he went to the World Cup with Ghana. He came back okay. He played the whole of January, February, March. He didn't really get any injuries until he was dropped for Jorginho in the last few games. So last season he kind of improved in terms of injuries. So if we got rid of him, that would be a shock. And all of a sudden we'd need 3 midfielders in the team. But we have to keep an eye on this one. It could happen. It could actually happen. We could end up getting rid of Partey and potentially bringing in 2 or 3 midfielders. But again, I still would be surprised. But then it's not only Caicedo. We will talk about Caicedo. In fact, let's actually talk about him right now. Moises Caicedo is one of the players who are expected to come to replace these players that we're selling. Arsenal have renewed interest in Moises Caicedo. Is likely to cost 80 million. 2 Italian clubs have shown interest in Thomas Partey, who has 2 years remaining on his contract. Arsenal could be keen to offload him if they get a deal done for Caicedo over the line. That just doesn't make sense, man. If you get rid of Partey and bring in Caicedo, you still need to get someone else to back up Caicedo. Then you all of a sudden need another midfielder. 80 million would be a good price. I still love the fact that we can end up getting Rice and Caicedo. I'd be absolutely happy if we can get both of them. But it's supposed to be both of them plus Partey in midfield. I wouldn't even sell Jorginho. I also want Jorginho to remain so that we have enough numbers. We are going to find out the fixtures we're going to play tomorrow in the Premier League. The arrangement is they're going to be announced tomorrow. And as I said, we could end up in pot 2, for example, in the Champions League. We could end up in the same group with Bayern Munich. We could end up in the same group with PSG. We could end up in the same group with Barcelona, all these guys, even Benfica, Napoli. We could end up in the groups with those guys. You could end up playing against Man United on Saturday, and then you're playing against Napoli away on Tuesday, and then that weekend you're going to face Tottenham at home. How do you approach that? You can't play Partey in all 3 of those games. Or if Partey is gone, you can't really play Caicedo in all 3 or 4 of those games in a week. We need rotation. That is what we need. That is why Man City have just come from winning 3 Champions League, 3 medals this season, 3 trophies this season. Mahrez didn't even play in the Champions League final because they have so many players. That is also what we want at Arsenal. If Trossard doesn't play, Martinelli plays 90 minutes, that is fine. Next game, we can drop Martinelli or rest Martinelli and play someone else on that side. And that is what we need in midfield, especially midfield. We've depended too much on Partey and Odegaard, especially last season. Odegaard played 37 out of the 38 games. There was no one to come in for him. Fabio Villa was disappointing. And for Partey, even if he played poorly, we didn't have anyone else to come in for him. We don't want the same situation next season. What if Caicedo plays badly for 2 games? What else? What next? You don't have anyone else to bring from the bench? Or are we planning to keep El Neni or someone like that? Surely not. El Neni is going to come in for us in the Champions League. That is not going to happen. So you have to keep all three of them, plus Jorginho, in fact, four of them, and then still keep Smith Rowe and Fabio and Odegaard. That is 7 players. Then you can try and tackle all the competitions. And if you can add another one after that, I'm totally fine with that. Midfield is a position that we really need to sort out. Maybe they want to sell Partey because we've been linked to a third midfielder today. His name is Lavia. We have been linked to Lavia today, according to Jacob Steinberg. Arsenal are interested in Romeo Lavia, reports Jacob Steinberg. So we could end up getting Lavia from Southampton. That would be the third midfielder. So let me know. Would you be happy if we got Lavia, Rice, and Caicedo, and then got rid of Partey, and then got 3 new midfielders in? Even with that, I still wouldn't be happy. I don't treat Lavia as high as Partey. Yes, he's younger. Partey only has like 2 years remaining on his contract. Personally, I would keep him for those 2 years and let him go on a free. I don't think he's going to extend his contract. I think we are either going to sell him right now or sell him next transfer window or let him go on a free after 2 years. I don't think Partey is going to extend his contract. I'd be very surprised. By then, you never know what could have happened. Maybe you've done really well in the Premier League and Champions League and we can attract even more midfielders. By then, it's fine. But as of now, we still need Partey. Lavia, again, Premier League, Champions League. It's not Premier League, Europa League. It's not Premier League, Europa League. It's Premier League, Champions League. Caicedo gets a knock and he's missing the Champions League game. What do? Do you bring in Lavia against Barcelona away in the Champions League? That's not what we want. We want the experience. We want the players who've played Champions League. Not many of Arsenal players have played Champions League. I think Gabriel has. I think who else has? Partey. Partey is the other one who has played Champions League football for us. So we have to have, not for us, for another team in Atletico Madrid. We need to keep such kind of players who have that experience of playing in the Champions League and the top leagues and everything. So if you get rid of Partey and bring in Lavia, yes, he's younger. Maybe he's going to be on cheaper wages and stuff. The other reason is wages. Again, maybe they want to get rid of Partey because he's on like 200,000 a week. Maybe that could be another reason. But I'd still keep him. Like I would not even consider selling Partey at all. Like that has not even crossed my mind. The thought of letting him go. I would definitely keep him. Now, let's not overreact. We've not had anything from Edu and saying Partey will leave or anything. Of course, we had a lot about Smith Rowe going, and then Arsenal basically said David Dunstein told us Arsenal have said Smith Rowe is not going anywhere. All that news is BS. So let's hope it's the same with Partey. Let's hope we hear something from David Dunstein or Fabrizio from Romano saying Arsenal have said there's nothing like that. Partey's definitely staying, and then definitely be happy for sure. Thomas Partey has to stay. So that's the midfield situation. We are still also waiting on this guy, Declan Rice. A lot of people already say then the transfer window is open. Why is he not signed for Arsenal? I mean, he's not even going to do any medical soon because the international break is on. The players are with their country, so I don't think there's any chance of him doing a medical anytime soon. The earliest we'll hear Arsenal announcing him as an Arsenal player is probably in a week or two or something like that because he's playing with England right now and we cannot do the medicals and stuff, but we can still agree the fee with West Ham. Now, from what I'm hearing from today, West Ham wants that 100 million plus add-ons. All the other teams have pretty much given up. Bayern Munich have given up, as we were told yesterday. I don't know if I still have that tweet. Bayern Munich have given up. Bayern Munich have said, yes, we're not going to get him. He prefers Arsenal. Let's try and look for someone else. I think Chelsea know Rice wants to go to a Champions League team. They know we're not going to they're not going to get him. My only fear was Man City or Liverpool. What if Man City were going to come in and say, you know what, you want Declan Rice? Here you're guaranteed trophies, because I think all the other teams, there's no team that is guaranteed trophies apart from Man City. But I think Man City will not come in for him, especially considering they've gotten Kovacic and Rodri staying and all those guys. I think Man City will not come in for him. So at the moment, it's only Arsenal who are dealing with Declan Rice. So what I'm hearing is Arsenal, like, you know what, since you're the only team that is with Declan Rice right now, that is negotiating with West Ham for Declan Rice right now, how about we wait for a couple of days? It's not what we want to hear. We want to get him right now. But Arsenal, like, you know what, maybe take it down to like 90 million. Let's see if you're going to let us get him for 90 million or you're going to settle on that 100 million for a couple of more days. Maybe that is why that is what they're waiting for, or we could totally hear them agreeing a deal tomorrow. It could happen as early as tomorrow. But then again, Arsenal could decide, you know what, let's wait. since this other team, he doesn't want to go out of England. He's not going to go to Bayern. He's not going to go to PSG. He's already made up his mind. The only other teams that can get him are Chelsea and Man United, and Man United are busy with the takeover, and Chelsea not in Champions League. So we kind of have a gap, time to negotiate with West Ham to take it down to like 90 million or 85 million. That will be interesting. And maybe if we hear another team is coming in for him, maybe then you're going to pay that 100 million. But they are still negotiating with West Ham, and West Ham can easily say, you know what, 120 million. Then what do you do after that? And that is the other reason why we are not getting rid of Xhaka yet. We are going to wait until we get someone like a Declan Rice in, and then potentially get rid of Xhaka. But I'm not worried about Declan Rice joining Arsenal. I'm like 95% sure he's going to join Arsenal. When? I don't know. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow or next week. I'm pretty sure he's going to join Arsenal. Following today's board meeting, Bayern have decided not to submit an offer for Declan Rice, as the player is likely to be heading to Arsenal. That was from German sources as well. And from Man United, we heard that he already talked to Man United and he said, no, I'm going to Arsenal. So it's all about the fee. Arsenal terms already agreed with him. We already know how much money we're going to pay him per week and all those details. So the only thing remaining is West Ham to take a bid for him. West Ham themselves are already looking for a replacement for Rice. So that is another reason why I feel like he's definitely going to leave West Ham for Arsenal. So I'm hoping it gets done soon. I don't want it to get carry on too long, because I know Arsenal fans are very impatient, and also since we've lost out on Modric and Vlahovic and Tielemans never came, there's always the fear that the players we've been linked to so much will not come. But this is different. When you're being linked to those players, we were not really in Champions League, first of all. That is why I feel like this time it's very different. This time we've just come from competing for a title, and they know that to go to the next level to compete with Man City, you have to get players like Declan Rice. 2 years ago, maybe they're like, you know what, we don't really have to get a Vlahovic. We're just fighting for top 6 or fighting for top 4. Now it's going to be hard. Like if Chelsea come back next season and Liverpool and Man United are there, Newcastle and Man City, you're going to compete with Tottenham as well, 6-7 teams. Brighton is there, all those teams. So you're going to compete with 6 or 7 teams for 4 or 5 spots. So you have to be very serious, and you have to beat them to players like this. So let's see what happens with Declan Rice. I am 95% confident he's going to join. More confident than I was with Tielemans and those guys, because then we were not in Champions League football, and we're not really the only team that was going for someone like a Modric. Chelsea already wanted him, and Chelsea were ahead of us at that time. Or they were in the Champions League and we weren't, and stuff. So let's see what happens with those deals. Let me take a few comments and then come to the next piece of news. Partey has to stay. Please don't sell him. Arsenal, says True Gunner. We should keep Thomas, says Mo. Partey is staying. Hopefully, Tobin. Hopefully you're right. But it's 50-50. There's a 50% chance he could leave, 50% chance he could stay. I cannot bet my house right now and say Partey is staying. There's a chance he could leave. Chelsea don't know how to use Havertz, says Harvey. We will talk about Havertz next. Live from Sudan. I appreciate it, Amy. Arsenal should not release Partey, says Paul. A lot of people have said they don't release Partey. Is there anyone who actually wants Partey to leave? I've not yet had anyone who wants Partey to go. That's nice. So maybe there's a couple of people who are like, you know what, just sell him. He's already 30 years of age, or he's not good enough. We need to replace him. Maybe there's a couple of fans who are like that. Partey to stay, says Luca. Tobin says Havertz, no way, God forbid. Good evening. I believe Partey leaving maybe because Arteta wants to reduce 200k wages. That's the only thing I can think about as well. That's the only thing, wages. Because we are giving a lot of the players right now big wages. Saka has been given a lot of money. Saliba will be given 200k. Odegaard has just been voted our best player. He will be given a lot of money as well. So that is why I feel like the likes of Rob Holding will end up staying at Arsenal, because they are being paid like 40k, stay on the bench. But players like Partey could end up getting rid of because of the money they're being paid. Maybe that is the only reason. Unless he also wants to leave, and I don't think he wants to leave. Unless the only time I can entertain him leaving is if he says, you know what, I don't want to stay at Arsenal, I want to go. Then maybe we can look at it differently. But if he doesn't want to go, and we don't really need to let him go, I don't see why he should leave. And replacing him with Caicedo and Zubimendi. I also don't think it's possible to get Rice, Caicedo, and Zubimendi. I only think it's possible to get 2. Appreciated Laban from Kenya. Partey should stay for at least a year. We need him, and I don't want Havertz deal to happen, says Effie. I would keep Partey and buy Caicedo, Rice, Zubimendi for the mid. As I said, 3 players in midfield, I don't think it's possible. That's like 250 million. I would love to spend that kind of money in midfield, but I think we're only going to get 2. You're doing great. I appreciate it. But saying Partey to leave will be a joke, not because I'm from Ghana, but he really did well for the team. At the end of the season, all the players were depleted, not only him, all the players. That is the reason why we need to add other equally good player talents. I agree with that, Boateng. Benjamin says Arsenal will be shooting themselves on the foot selling Thomas. How do you improve the team by selling the best you have at the moment? You sell him and bring Caicedo then, who is deputizing for Caicedo when he is down. Please, we need a good depth in our squad next season. So selling parties are no for me. Maybe they're trying to get Caicedo and then get Lavia as the backup, but I wouldn't do that, honestly. Live from Seychelles, or Seychelles says, Angora, appreciate it. Why do they want to sell Partey? That's rubbish. I mean, it's not been confirmed by Arteta and they do that they want to sell Partey. It's just from the journalists, but usually they're right. So we have to believe part of it. EPL, Carling Cup, FA Cup, Champions League. A lot of competitions to play. For sure. Thank you for watching, William. I would be so surprised if Partey is released this summer, says Joshua. I'll come to the rest of the comments. Let's talk about Kai Havertz next. Arsenal is linked to Kai Havertz once again. I thought you were done with that. Kai Havertz to Arsenal would shock me. I don't believe he's a 100% terrible player. I feel like Chelsea were just terrible and everyone was terrible. Even if Messi and Odegaard were there last season, that would have been terrible because Chelsea had lost direction. But Arsenal signing him, I have like 3 or 4 reasons why I don't think we can sign him. So according to Team News Ticks, confirmed by Ghana blog, Arsenal are interested in Kai Havertz. And more news on Kai Havertz. Arsenal are interested in signing Havertz, but are not willing to pay Chelsea's current asking price. Arsenal remain keen on Caicedo. Edu wants a new fullback with Cancelo, Fresneda, and Castagne in the list. So let's talk about the first part of that. Havertz to Arsenal. That would be so shocking. Now, number one, let's forget about him coming from Chelsea and everything. As I said before, I don't believe in that. This guy came from Chelsea is useless. I do think Czech was okay. I do think Luis was okay in the second season, and I do think Jorginho has been okay. The only one really that was bad was Willian and maybe Gallas back in the day. I have no problem with signing players from Chelsea or Man City or anything like that. I don't believe in we are buying these players who are outcasting these teams. No, look at Zinchenko, look at Jesus. They've been great for us. But the reasons why I don't see Havertz fitting in at Arsenal. Number one, formation. This guy loves playing, the Ozil kind of role, number 10, and players who were used to playing the number 10, like he used to play there for Leverkusen, strictly number 10. He will fit in a 4-2-3-1 formation for you. 4-2-3-1 with 2 holding midfielders and 1 ahead of them. The way we used to play in the mid, like 5-6 years ago with Cazorla and Coquelin in midfield and then Ozil in front of them. That is the only way Havertz can fit in at Arsenal if we are playing a 4-2-3-1, not a 4-3-3. I cannot see him playing in the Xhaka role or the Smith Rowe role or something like that, or even the Odegaard role. The Xhaka role that Xhaka has been playing at Arsenal, sometimes, most of the time, Zinchenko comes into midfield and Xhaka sometimes can cover as a left back. Havertz cannot cover for you as a left back. He cannot do that unless we completely change the system once again. He also needs to push forward and come back. Havertz wants to stay around the box. Will he really come back and take the ball? I can't see him doing that as well. Not at all. Again, like that Xhaka role is difficult, You have to be good defending and good attacking as well. Havertz could be good attacking, and even that, he's been missing a lot of chances, and his decision-making has been terrible for like 2 years now. He's scored 9 goals less, and that is terrible for someone who's playing as a striker for majority of it. So formation, he does not really fit into the Arsenal formation. He prefers a 4-2-3-1, and we play in a 4-3-3. Number 2, price. I want us to spend a lot of money in midfield, not for the goalkeeper, not for the center back, not for the striker. I want us to spend 80% or 70% of our budget in midfield. Havertz, Real Madrid wanted Havertz, and Real Madrid have kind of pulled out because Havertz is too expensive. So if Havertz is too expensive for Real Madrid, are we going to pay that money for Havertz? 70 million or 60 million? 60 to 70 million for Kai Havertz. That would be crazy. That 60, 70 million for someone who doesn't even fit into your system would be crazy. I mean, listen, would I mind if we get Rice, Caicedo, and Cancel, and then you get Havertz next? No problem. If you're going to get all of them, if you have the money to get all of them, go ahead. But I'd be so stunned and so frustrated if we ended up getting, let's say, Havertz before Caicedo. Midfield is our problem. We already have Odegaard there. I still feel like Fabio Vieira can come good next season, and you're not going to play a 4-2-3-1 with Havertz there. 70 million? I don't think so. Now, there is a couple of advantages, yes, like age. He's not that old. He's still like 24 years of age, so he's still nowhere near his prime. So he does fit into the Arsenal age, the kind of players we're trying to get. And you can say he's used to the Premier League football since he's been there for 3 years now. But that is, and maybe depth, that is basically it. But in terms of, we are looking for players to come in for the players if they play poorly or they need to get rested. I don't think I'd be happy to see Jesus coming off and Havertz coming on as a striker. Does not work. Odegaard in the number, like the Odegaard role that he plays, you take him out and then you bring in Havertz. I'd not be sure. Odegaard as well. Odegaard is so comfortable playing with Saka and Ben White on that right side. I don't want it to be replaced anytime soon. And if you buy a player for 60, 70 million, you're talking about them playing more than he's not going to play. And maybe he does have the Champions League experience that you're looking for. He's won the Champions League, he scored in a final and everything. But no, the two main things, system does not fit into a system, and number two, cash. No. So unless there's a couple of you who want Kai Havertz at Arsenal, maybe there's a few of you who would like Kai Havertz to join Arsenal. Personally, no. Unless it's the final day and you've already gotten everything done and you have extra money, then you can think about it. But there's a lot of other players I can tell you for cheap. If you're going to go for Havertz, I can go to Crystal Palace and ask for Eze and ask for Lise as backups. I can even go to Aston Villa, and if I need another midfield, I can ask for McGinn. I can go to which other team within the Premier League? I'm forgetting Premier League teams. I don't know. I can go to Brighton and ask for another midfielder. Like, there's so many other. I can even go and ask for Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa. But Havertz, no. For that kind of price, there's so many other players you can go for. You can go and get Milinkovic-Savic in a different role in midfield for cheaper. Way cheaper. So Havertz for me is a no, especially for that price. Unless, let me ask you, if Kai Havertz was going to be 25 million, would you sign him for 25 million? If Chelsea said we want 25 million for Havertz, would you get him for that price? Jude says he's not competitive at all. We need a striker like Osimhen or West Ham striker. Again, for that, the second part of that, I think it's a wrong choice of word. I don't think we need a striker. We want a striker. I don't think we need a striker. We need a midfielder. That is what we need. We definitely need a midfielder. We don't need a goalkeeper. We don't need a left winger. We don't need which other position? We don't really need a striker. I don't think we need a striker. If a striker, a backup striker, a different kind of striker like a Dzeko or someone like that, or a Giroud, later on in the transfer window. But for now, for 1 month, my focus would be on midfielders. After you get your midfield sorted, then you can start looking at maybe a backup for Saka and maybe a backup for Jesus up front, or maybe something like that. I know someone like Osimhen would take us to the next level, but I'd still not be 100% happy if we spent 100 million on Osimhen and then remain with El Neni and Lokonga in midfield. That wouldn't make sense. You sort your midfield out fast. We have problems in midfield. Xhaka is leaving. Partey could be leaving. Lokonga might not be here. El Neni might leave. Jorginho, we don't even know if he's going to be here. Midfield fast. You sort out your midfield fast, and then later on, Osimhen. And that is potentially not going to happen for two reasons. It's going to cost you 100 million. So unless you're going to spend 100 million on Rice or 100 million on Osimhen, which position is more important? And number two, Osimhen. Benzema has just left Real Madrid. Real Madrid will want Osimhen. PSG will want Osimhen. Inter Milan, AC Milan will want Osimhen. Juventus will want him. Chelsea will want him. Man United will want him. Man City will want him. That is where it's going to be difficult. We don't want to get into a bidding war for Osimhen when you have a problem in midfield. So we don't need a striker. We scored 88 goals last season, the most goals Arsenal has ever scored in the Premier League history. We don't need a striker. We want a striker. That is the correct word. And again, on top of that, many people don't want to hear this, but I've looked at it as well. I'm going to post a video later on. They've already recorded it of players who are going to leave. I think Nketiah will definitely be here next season. I don't think he's going to be let go. I have a feeling he's like 90% going to be here. Fans might not want Nketiah, but I've not really heard about Arteta and Edu not wanting Nketiah. So there is that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that, because Trossard can also play up front. Let's see. I'd love a backup striker, though, like a Giroud or a Jake or someone like that. Or if you're saying West Ham, are you talking about Scamacca or Antonio? I wouldn't mind. Benjamin says, I don't think we need Kai. He's a fine player, but his pattern of play doesn't fit the Premier League entirely. Yeah, there's actually that. I mean, I've had Chelsea fans saying he's been there for 3 years and they don't know his right position. So if Chelsea fans are saying that when he's been there for 3 years, we're not in a position to start looking for positions for Havertz right now. We are trying to win the Premier League. We are trying to enjoy a good Champions League run as well. We do not have time to start looking for good positions for these players. Besides, 70 million is way too much. Yeah, that is way too much. I have even if we have 500 million budget, I am not going to pay 70 million for Havertz. Like, you can get McGinn and Eze for that kind of money. 2 players you can get for that kind of money. You can go to Lazio and pay 45 million for Milinkovic-Savic and have some change remaining and get a backup for Saka or someone. You can get Gnonto, a backup for Saka from Leeds, and you also get another midfielder. You can even get Maddison for that money. If you really need to get a number 10, you can go and get Maddison cheaper than Havertz. But 70 million, I don't know. That is for now. If later on Havertz is about to join Arsenal, then I would leave Arteta and Edu to do what they're doing, because the other transfers have worked. But for now, before we get him, no, not now. If we get him, then I'd not be like, why are they getting Havertz? This is crap, blah, blah, blah. No. Right now we can say that. But if he ends up joining, I don't think he's going to join, though. That money is crazy. We're not going to pay 70 million for Havertz. Surely not. Partey to stay didn't impress towards the end of the season. It's good that you're getting good midfielders like Rice, maybe Caicedo, but getting Havertz doesn't make sense. I'll prefer with Wilfred Zaha. Again, I don't want to have Zaha at Arsenal. As I said, left wing is not our problem. We have Martinelli, we have Trossard, we have Smith Rowe can also play there. If needed, Jesus can play as a winger. If needed, you can. If all 5 of the players are injured, you can push Zinchenko and play him as a left winger. We don't need Zaha, and someone like a Zaha and Neymar. Those guys would distract the unity in the team. Right now, I feel like every single Arsenal player gets along with each other, and every one of them gets along with Arteta. Now, if you bring people like Zaha and Neymar, the ego is up here. So I can easily see Zaha falling out with Arteta in the first month and telling him, why are kids like Martinelli playing ahead of me? I should be playing. Then you're disrupting the unity in the team that you've built over the last 2 years. That is why we got rid of Aubameyang. That is why we got rid of players like Lacazette. We wanted like players who were going to fit into his culture as well. So that is why you're also trying to get rid of the players from the previous culture. The kind of mentality, not Man City. If Mahrez doesn't play, you won't hear him complaining. He will be celebrating the titles with all those players, no problem. You had Cancelo saying a couple of things. Boom, Cancelo is out of the door from Guardiola gets rid of him. So I can't really see us going for someone like Zaha. Money too much. Number 2, we don't really need a left winger. Number 3, unity in the team. Number 4 is also wanted by Saudi Arabia. We cannot compete with Saudi Arabia in terms of money. This is the only problem our team has, because we need more players, but now thinking of offloading Partey for what reason? Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we got rid of him. Kai not better than Watkins, if that is who you mean. Which West Ham striker, Antonio? No, not Antonio. Are you talking about Scamacca? You know what? I wouldn't mind Antonio as a backup striker. That is the kind of striker I'm looking for, like someone who can head the ball, someone who can hold up the ball. It's not someone who's going to play every single day, no. Someone who's going to play a few games here and there. Maybe not exactly Antonio, no. Like you can get someone else who's kind of like that. Giroud from 4 years ago. Even some people are even saying Giroud even from now because he's still playing well. But he's not going to leave AC Milan. But someone like that, different kind of striker. Let's go to the next piece of news before we come to the rest of the comments once again, and that is on Jorginho. What is the latest on Jorginho? Another midfielder could end up leaving. According to Fabrizio Romano, my understanding for the moment is that Jorginho is happy at Arsenal and has good chances to stay at the club, even if he isn't likely to be as much of a regular and focal point of the team. There is nothing serious or advanced with Lazio or any other club. For me, I'd keep Jorginho. He's only been here for 6 months. I don't think he's done anything wrong, really. He's been okay for the games that he's played. The ones that pop up in my head are the Chelsea game at home and also the Aston Villa game away. He played really, really well. Why would you leave Jorginho to go? Now, again, if you let Xhaka go, Partey go, and Jorginho to go, then we're basically starting afresh in midfield. We are going to look for 4 midfielders. That is too much. That is too much. We want to keep... For me, if I was the manager right now, I understand there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. There's wages, and maybe they need to reduce the wages. They need to reduce the number of players. There's all that. But if you really need to get rid of players, there's so many other players you can get rid of. The ones that are coming out from loan, you don't have to bring back any of them if you want. And there's other players like Rob Holding and those kind of guys if you need to reduce the number of players. But then again, I still feel like Holding will remain at Arsenal also because of the English player. I think it's called quota. You also have to have a certain number of English players. We already have a few, the likes of Saka and Smith. I don't know if Holding also counts in terms of that, especially if you get rid of any of them. So there is that. But Jorginho leaving, I wouldn't let him go. Again, one of the few players who've really played Champions League football before. Saka, Martinelli, these guys have never played Champions League football, so we want players who've also played that kind of level of football. So Jorginho, for me, I'd keep him on the bench, come in for 20 minutes, come in for 25 minutes, start the Carabao Cup games. I mean, you can also bring him in a Champions League game. I mean, it's not like a Lokongo's not really on that kind of level before. Jorginho can bring him for 30 minutes in the Champions League, no problem. So Jorginho is another one I'd not get rid of. I want all of them. Rice, Caicedo, Partey, Jorginho, all of them to stay. And then in front of them, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Fabio Vieira, all of them to stay. Don't get rid of anyone. Unless there's, would some of you get rid of Jorginho? Would any of you get rid of Jorginho? Can we go for Awoni? Is that how you pronounce his name? I know he plays for Nottingham Forest. He scored a very lucky goal against us. Awoni, I've never known how to pronounce his name. I think it's Awoni. I mean, it wouldn't cost too much money, Ibrahim. It wouldn't cost too much money, so there's that. Backup, not too much, but Champions League level, Ibrahim, Champions League football, is Awoni going to come for you? If Jesus gets injured, are you going to start Awoni in the Champions League? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. No, he really does look to me like a Nottingham Forest kind of player, Bournemouth kind of player, not an Arsenal kind of player. I mean, I usually don't have any problem with signing players from those kind of teams. They can still work out for you. But I'm sure you can get someone of a similar ilk and still do the same job for you. But good shout, Ibrahim. I've actually not heard anyone mentioning Awoni as a potential player, but good choice, I guess. Decent choice. I think he played very well for Nottingham Forest, especially at the end of the season. Keep Partey, buy Rice and Caicedo. We are good to go, says Moises. Yeah, if you have all 3 of them, you're good to go. Like the kind of rotation you can do. You can play Rice and then play Rice, Partey, and Odegaard. You can even push Partey a bit forward. You can push Rice a bit forward and have Partey as the holding midfielder. If you're playing against a very tough team like a Man City away or Bayern Munich away, you can have all 3 of them on the pitch at the same time. You can play Caicedo as a right back and have Partey and Rice in midfield. Like so many different options, man. So many different options. Now, if you get rid of Partey and don't get Caicedo, then what next? Where are we going to get another 2 or 3 midfielders from? It's going to be tough. I can't wait to see new players at Arsenal, says Alex. I can't wait as well. Eze is better than Havertz, says Frederick. I mean, actually, at the moment, I actually agree with that. Thank you, Abdul, for watching. Jabat says, I agree with you, Glenn. Look at Real Madrid, right? They buy Bellingham because, they have Bellingham, they have Tchouaméni, they have Camavinga. Yeah, a lot of options. And they also have Kroos and they have Modric and Valverde is there up front. Rodrigo is there. Vinicius is there. They're probably going to get another striker as well. They've sold Asensio, but they're probably going to replace him as well. Like, you need to have a lot of options in your midfield. Some people say you can't be negative. You have to be positive. Don't think about injuries. You have to think about it. Do you know how many times injuries have affected Arsenal? Every season, basically. We can start from 2007 with Eduardo and Rosicki. That is when our season started capitulating because of injuries. All those years coming forward, Van Persie, Wilshere, Cazorla, all our seasons have been affected with injuries. Partey, Tomiyasu, Tierney. So you have to think about injuries with Arsenal. So if you sell Partey and you sell Jorginho, and then Rice gets injured for 2 months, then what are you going to do? When you're going to play Bayern Munich and Man City away in the same week, what is going to happen? Are you going to start El Neni and Lokong in those games? No, you're not going to do that. So you need options. You need a lot of options. Personally, for me, I would even keep Xhaka and I would keep Tierney, but maybe they need to reduce the wages and they need to reduce the salary and all that. So maybe they do need to sell these players. But for me, I would 100% keep Partey. You can only think about selling him maybe next season after you've already talked about other options that you can get. Deanne says we can't lose midfielder Jack and Partey at once. No, it's ridiculous. That's the other thing. Like losing them the same month, that would be crazy. For 6 months of the season, between August and like February, Odegaard, Partey, and Xhaka were the best trio in terms of midfield in the Premier League. Yes, Man United, maybe Bruno's doing okay, Casemiro's doing okay, but the third one wasn't really doing okay. Maybe Man City can say De Bruyne is doing okay, Rodri is doing okay, Gundogan had not started firing yet. Liverpool, they were poor in midfield this season. So we had a midfield with all three players playing really, really well. So if you lose 2 of them after you were so close to winning the title, you have to keep the spine of the team going. You have to keep Ramsdale there. You have to keep Gabriel Saliba. You have to keep Partey, and you have to keep Odegaard and Jesus as well. You cannot get rid of any of them. And I don't want us to get rid of any of our starting 11 players anyway. I would keep all of them. Good point again, Frederick. This time we are not looking for players to come and say, we are going to get top 4, and we are looking for players who are going to, keep the club afloat. We are trying to get players to win us trophies. That is exactly what you're trying to do, Frederick. We are now competing for trophies, and we are competing against a giant Manchester City. They just won 3 trophies. Like, if you're not careful, they're going to win another 3 trophies next season. So how can you compete with them? If you want to win the league title, you have to get to 90 points. Getting to 90 points, maybe even more, 94. Like Liverpool got to 97 points and they didn't win the league. I think they got to 91 or 92 and they also didn't win the league. So to compete with Man City, out of the 38 games, you have to win like 30 and maybe draw 4, and maybe you can only lose like 4. And sometimes Liverpool competing with Man City, they only lost like a game in a season. But you have to be realistic. You have the gap of losing like 4 games. If you win 30 and draw 4, you're going to win the league with 94 points. You can only lose like 4 games and maybe draw another 4. 30 games to win. And also Champions League. You're going to play Bayern Munich, Benfica. You're going to even these other clubs that you think are small. Ajax is not small. That's a tough game if you play against them. Even times like Club Brugge, you cannot joke in the Champions League. Another thing is that we've not been there for a long time. So we need all the experienced players that we can get. Ate is confused right now. I don't know why we are not buying Tielemans. Tielemans is already gone. Tielemans is already gone to Aston Villa, so forget about Tielemans. The only thing I can think about that is what Frederick has just said about Arsenal is no longer a business team and you're not trying to fight for titles. That's the only thing I can think about. Maybe since we now competed for the titles and we are now in the Champions League, maybe Tielemans was a player who was going to come and help us fight for top 4. Maybe now that we've gone to the next level, they've looked at it like, no, Tielemans is not going to come and play for us in the Champions League. Now let's go and look for next level players. Maybe Tielemans is on level, let's say level 8. Let's now go and look for players in level 9. Maybe that is what you're trying to do. Maddison and Cancelo, Lavia. Cancelo would absolutely love him at Arsenal. Maddison, 50 million for Maddison. I mean, I wouldn't mind Maddison at Arsenal as backup. I would not mind him at all. Lavia as well. I mean, 3 of those options, okay. Rice is good, but the price is too much. For me, I want Rice. I 100% want Rice. I feel like it's going to make a huge difference. I've heard some people saying he's overrated. He might be overpriced, but not overrated. Caicedo is good as but their money is too much, in my opinion, says Joshua. For the past few years, injuries has become a major concern, says Michael, for literally 16 years in a row. Like 12 or 13 of those seasons we've been affected with injuries. Xhaka can leave, but not Partey is our engine, says May. Emmanuel says Tony's bet scandal is such a mess. He would have been the perfect backup striker for Arsenal. I wouldn't have minded him at Arsenal for sure. But I don't think they're going to get rid of him, even if he didn't have that scandal and the ban. With these players, will go find the Champions League, please. They should not sell any of the first 11. Yeah, if you keep the first 11, you keep Trossard as well. You keep Smith Rowe as well. You keep Tomiyasu as well. You keep maybe Turner, the goalkeeper, as well. And then you bring Rice and you bring Caicedo. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And 2 other players on top of that. And then you still have the likes of Fabio Villa, who he's going to come good next, and don't worry. And then we're going to get rid of Tierney and Xhaka, but imagine if they were there as well, your squad is complete. The team spirit that our team had last season is what will lead us to winning the trophies, and a bit of quality on top of that, of course. I don't see any player that needs to be sold per now, but additional on more players. Now, I've already done a video about that. I'll post it later. The 10 players that I think are going to leave Arsenal this transfer window. Did I miss? Yeah, I'm going to try and take as many comments as possible. The transfer window is just opened, by the way. Let's not overreact. There's a long way to go. Emmanuel says, I don't understand why the coaching staff selling Xhaka and Partey for Caicedo and Rice all in the same class. You can say that. I think Rice is a step up from Xhaka. But I do genuinely think Partey and Caicedo are almost the same. So I do agree with that. So if you're selling one and buying one, that doesn't really make a difference. You need to add a backup still. The 2 help Arsenal to run ups. Caicedo and Rice teams cannot be found as a choice of players. We'll have our guys think of it anyway. For me, I'd keep both of them. But Xhaka is leaving, so let's forget about Xhaka staying. Xhaka is definitely leaving. Rice is coming in. Hopefully, Caicedo is coming in, and I don't know what else we're going to do. We still have players like Lokonga. What are we going to do with Lokonga? Is he going to be sold? Is he going to be loaned out again? There's a lot we still need to get to this summer transfer window. Which position is Kai going to play? Prince, good question. You know the answer to that? I do not know. That is why I don't know why I would be buying him. He's been playing as a striker for Chelsea, and he's been terrible as a striker. He's been missing chance after chance after chance. I don't see him playing the Xhaka role, and for the Odegaard role, maybe, but I don't think he would be comfortable. Havertz prefers being behind the striker and getting himself into the box and maybe creating chances for the striker. But Arsenal do not play in a 4-2-3-1. We don't play the number 10, so our midfield is something. Our midfield will be long for next season. I don't see the reason why leaving will be given open to Xhaka. I wouldn't get rid of Fabio Vieira anyway as well, Timothy. You need to give him a second season. For Xhaka, I don't know why. Maybe he wants to leave. Maybe he decided himself that he wants to leave because he had a very good season. So I don't know about that. We'll probably hear more about that one soon. It's time for trophies, not top 4, says Pro. Please enlighten me about the targets of Arsenal. As always, Arsenal, this time you're not hearing about many players like we're usually doing. Like 5 years ago, Arsenal wanted Dawar, we wanted Partey, we wanted Benzema, we wanted Higuain, we wanted like 6 goalkeepers, we even wanted Onana when he was at Ajax, we wanted like 10 strikers. Right now, at least we're hearing about 4 or 5 players. So at least that one is manageable. You're not hearing about too many players. Let's recap it. Let's recap it. Is this page recognized by Arsenal? I don't think so. I'm not a celebrity. Or too. I am not a celebrity. One day though. Let's recap it. Partey. This is the news on Partey. Italian clubs are interested in Partey, who has 2 years left on his contract. We are also trying to get Caicedo to replace Partey, according to reports. But we are also linked to another midfielder in Lavia from Southampton, according to Jacob Steinberg. We are willing to bid 80 million for Caicedo from Brighton. A lot of money. We never usually sign players like this, but I do think he's around that man, to be fair. He was one of their best players. So what do you do? Jorginho as well has been linked with a move away to Italy, but according to Fabrizio Romano, he wants to stay, and the club doesn't really want to sell him. And Havertz as well. It's been confirmed by Team News and Ticks. Arsenal are interested in signing Kai Havertz. The price would be crazy, but we are actually talking to them with those talks that we already talked to the player, but we're now talking to the team. But in the second part of that tweet, we are also linked to Cancelo, Fresneda, and Castagne in terms of fullback. Another reason why I think Tierney will definitely leave, because we've been linked to a lot of fullbacks. Sometimes buying expensive players does not help, so don't complain about the price of Caicedo. Look at Man City. Jack Grealish now is celebrating. Yeah, sometimes you have to pay. After Rice, we'll need Caicedo, exactly that, King. Let's keep Partey and bring Rice and Caicedo. Proper depth in the squad is very important. I would love that we go for Gnabry, Rice, and Gundogan. I've had talk about Gnabry, but I'd be surprised if we got him. Gundogan is still an option. If he doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, that is. At Arsenal, you're going to get 150,000 a week. In Saudi Arabia, you're going to get 800,000. So if Saudi Arabia can, they would probably get him. But that's the latest news. I will be back with another video later on today. We'll be live the same time I've been live today. That is when we are going to be doing live streams most of the days throughout the transfer window. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.